Alaska Native people have lived, hunted, fished, and gathered on the abundant ecosystems of the Alaskan wilderness for thousands of years. This way of life is contemporarily known as subsistence. Politically, subsistence is defined as providing for the basic food needs of one's self and one's family. Culturally, for Alaska Natives, subsistence activities are the accumulation of food security, basis for important ceremonies, a source for spiritual connection, and above all, a natural right. Alaska Natives are actively opposing subsistence restrictive laws that prevent traditional means of obtaining these resources. Through an examination of laws, activism, and resolution, nutritional value of subsistence food, and the overall well-being these activities provide, a better understanding of the whole cultural picture of subsistence is needed. Possible outcomes of full subsistence rights, if they are reinstated by the government, will be discussed. Current Alaska subsistence laws include the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act that was signed in 1971. In this law, Alaska Natives gave up the right to hunt and fish uninhibited in exchange for land, which later became the 13 regional profit corporations situated around Alaska. This law, known as ANCSA, left the issue of subsistence hunting and fishing for natives to be resolved by the state government or through further amendments. For several years, the subsistence rights went unrecognized and unprotected, until 1980, when the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act was signed, which recognizes all rural residents, both native and non-native, the right to subsistence hunt on specified federal corridors. The federal law does not address Native Alaskans who live in urban areas. Currently, the only additional allowance for Native Alaskans to hunt and fish is for potlatch funerals and memorials, and these ceremonies have to occur within 1 year of a death. There are several other regulations and paperwork that has to be filled out in order for a Native Alaskan to be given these special hunting rights. And some of these include proof of death, proof of traditional practices, and other fish and game stipulations. The state of Alaska Fish and Game regulates these federal guidelines, and they also include a subsistence priority that declares subsistence users get first pick before any other hunters do. This is a map showing the federal hunting corridors in Alaska, and they're highlighted in green, and you can see that it is a large portion of the state. Currently, Alaska Natives are fighting to have their subsistence rights reinstated, and they're doing this through subsistence rights rallies, protests, and there have been several marches around the state in the last several years. And they're also raising awareness through discussions at annual events and AFN. There are more than a few campaigns such as Hunt, Fish, Share, and also Get Out the Native Vote is another one that's trying to raise the Native subsistence awareness by having Native people vote and give their opinion. This is a picture of the 2012 Hunt Fish Share Rally in Anchorage. The battle for subsistence rights has been fought for decades and has gained ground with a voice and with the empowerment of the regional corporations and the nonprofit corporations, as well as AFN. Subsistence rights remain on the forefront of discussions at these annual meetings. The National Congress of American Indians adopted a 2013 resolution to proceed in talks with the Department of the Interior to resolve the disenfranchisement and protect the Alaska Native subsistence rights. Organizations such as OTNA, Tanana Chiefs Conference, and other Alaska Native entities are proposing a cooperative inter-exchange program between government conservation efforts and their indigenous knowledge of conservation. And these are meant to address any concerns that people would have about, Native Alaskans overhunting ecosystems. And there are a lot of indigenous knowledge bases that would prevent this from happening. And this is a picture from Bethel, Alaska. And they were hoping to raise awareness of food insecurity because there was such a low fish run, and a lot of the commercial fishermen had gotten a lot of the fish before it was able to get to the subsistence users. Alaska faces some very serious and immediate food source problems as a whole due to the fact that most food is shipped in from other places and little is actually grown in-state due to long winters and climate challenges. These problems are magnified in rural, remote villages that depend on shipments of food by plane or barge for necessities and dry foods. This battle is not new to Alaska Natives, but it is thought to be amplified from the ever-rising fuel cost, which cause really high grocery prices. And a lot of these places are at the mercy of the weather and availability from the larger hubs such as Anchorage and Fairbanks. These stores have a lack of high quality, healthy food because they have to be able to store this food on their shelves in case it's not sold. Also, a lack of jobs in these areas would not allow full dependence on market food, so these people absolutely depend on subsistence, meat and fish and other items. Subsistence hunting and fishing provide food security that they would otherwise not have. Several factors can prevent a family from filling their freezers and pantries, including emergencies, illness, finances, and actually finding and hunting the game. Being able to hunt and fish when the need is upon them would further increase their food security. This is a picture of a whale harvested up on the North Slope, and this could feed a village for weeks or even months. The nutritional benefits of subsistence food is one of the main reasons Alaska Natives choose to hunt and fish and eat this food. It is found to be higher in vitamins A, D, and E. It is rich in fatty acids and important proteins needed to survive in the winter months. This food is also low in cholesterol and also very low in sugar. The overall shift from subsistence traditional subsistence diet to a total or blend of a Western diet has caused an increase in health risks in the Alaska Native population. These changes have brought on higher rates in diabetes and heart disease in Native Alaskans. The Alaska Native population has seen a loss of tradition due to these restrictive subsistence laws. Many of the traditional hunts and ceremonies that would follow these hunts have been halted due to state conservation laws. One example of this is for interior Athabascans is the spring duck hunt. In recent years, small battles have been won towards reclaiming this hunt, but the restrictions are still strenuous. A cornerstone of many traditional Native Alaskan subcultures relies on oral history, and they are becoming obsolete because of the distance between these subsistence activities, and these stories and histories are just no longer needed because people aren't relying on these activities, and they don't really need the knowledge base like they used to. Subsistence living provides a spiritual connection to ancestors, and this has also been lost. These activities provide and promote overall well-being, which means physical, mental, and emotional. And it also provides and creates a bond between generations through teaching about the skills the elders have, and they could pass it on to other generations. And this is a connection between these generations that is needed for the success of the coming generations. This is a picture of a Athabascan woman teaching her grandchild to cut fish. There's a big battle when people talk about subsistence rights. Mainly the concern is the conservation methods concerning fish and game, and the Native Alaskan entities have realized this, and they're battling to prove that their indigenous knowledge is just as effective as the federal and state conservation efforts. Another concern from the government is fairness to other cultures and people that live in these rural areas, and whether or not these people could be made to understand the natural rights of the Native Alaskans. Another concern is the parameters that these hunts would take place in, if it would be on corporation land or federal land or state land. Positive impacts would consist of a more complete diet of quality food and nutritional intake, leading to better overall health and diet. The added taking of game and fish when necessary would save money that is desperately needed elsewhere, providing food security and the ability to hunt when hungry. Restoration of these natural rights would provide communities with an opportunity to reconnect with long-lost beliefs, ceremonies, and traditions that could be passed on for generations to come. The Native community in Alaska has begun and will continue to raise awareness of the subsistence issue. Campaigns, marches, and political activism are the routes